Welcome to the second part of the poisonous plant, and we were talking about cyanide plants and how these work. Basically, cyanide is accumulated on the plant after stress, and the sorghums, the Johnson grass, Sudan grass, the wild cherry plum, and peaches tree can actually accumulate that. It usually happen after stress, and those plants are going to be wilting after a drought, frost, or trimming. The new growth are going to actually have the cyanide in it, and it can potentially be dissipated during the hay processing if the farmer actually leaves that material outside for long enough period during the processing of hay that can actually dissipate then that cyanide and make it out. The toxic agent is prussic acid. This component binds to the hemoglobin, and the hemoglobin is the red color on the blood, and actually that red color is the capacity of the red blood cell to transfer oxygen. So when you have a hemoglobin uh, bind to a prussic acid, that hemoglobin cannot transfer oxygen anymore. So it's going to reduce tissue oxygen, and it's going to create suffocation problems with rapid breathing, hyperexcitable. They're going to be dragging their limbs. They can collapse. They're going to have some seizures. They could have bright red mucous membrane and rapid death. And basically, it's the lack of oxygen that can create the problem. Johnson grass is probably by far the most common of these plants that we use, especially when it reaches certain height. The Johnson grass will have some dark hints on the leaves, and that creates a sign of stress, and with the sign of stress, the correlation with cyanide intoxication. Especially when you have a seed head like this one. This is the classic inflorescence of a C4 plant. These are C4 grasses, and because the time frame of the season when it's happening is more than likely after the summer, and more than likely it's going to have some cyanide in it. This is the classic inflorescence of the plant into it, and important to remember how to differentiate these from other types. The wild plum, cherry, and peaches can do the same problem. I don't see these kind of plants in Northeast Texas that often, but I'm not gonna say it's not possible. Here the flower of the cherry, and the tender material affected by it. No, nitrate intoxication, and sometimes that happens very close to cyanide intoxication. And nitrate plants are actually straight lower stalks during the drought, grazing standard distress plants. The new growth after the rain, and then the cattle is eating that particular hay. This nitrate is converted to nitrite in the rumen, and it's gonna also create hemoglobin binding changes and reducing the blood oxygen. So the clinical signs are going to be very similar: rapid breathing, suffocation signs, excitable, staggers, collapse, convulsion, and then rapid death. And the turn brownish blue here is because the lack of oxygen on the blood. Another type of intoxication is by Dallis grass. This one is actually going to have a fungus on these seed stalks, head stalks, that actually is called ergot. It's an ergotamine type of product. It's going to be affecting the nervous system. The animals are going to be hyper excitable. They're going to be dragging. They're going to be collapsing. They're going to have seizures, and it could potentially cause the death of the animal, especially in naive cattle. If you have cattle that is coming from other lands that they have never been exposed to Dallis grass, it can actually create some envenomation or intoxication throughout the process. Is actually an alcohol type of intoxication, and actually make them look like they're kind of drunk, and it's because the high levels in the seeds. And hence the way to prevent that is to mow that Dallis grass and stop it from forming the head, the seed head. Classic ID of the plants, classic seeding of the Dali's grass, and when they have the fungus, they get darker. There are other little plants, Coffeecina, they're also going to be toxic for the materials. The dry material, the dry plant is going to be the agent. It's going to be affecting the muscles of the animals. It's going to make them weak. It's going to make them have diarrhea, dark urine. The animal eventually is not going to move, and it's going to cause the death. And this is the type of plant that it looks like. Fairly much controllable by herbicides program. A good herbicide program can control that and actually avoid having the suitable material to actually intoxicate animals. Another plant that is very common is the oleander, and you can see this especially around houses. Is a fairly common ornamental plant because it produces a little red flower, and when animals get into it, make them appealing for them and eat a lot, because the green leaves are actually bitter, but the brown leaves are actually can actually be eatable and actually be liked by animals. The toxic agent is going to create some heart damage. The classical symptoms in livestock and pets is depression, weakness, tremble, convulsion, coma, and sudden death. So it's a nervous system type of intoxication. And this is the typical situation. You see them on the side of the house. The farm owner of the property decide to trim them. This brown material is what creates the problem because they're actually fairly palatable. And this is the ornamental plant, and hence why people like them to keep around the house, and it's fairly easy to identify. The green material looks also like a mare's tail, very easy to identify, and like I said, it's usually close to houses.